female who's 17 years old who's missing.
Give it a go.
We follow 3 female police officers.
I have a camera recording.
Across their week of shifts.
Can you get... Bye, see you later.
Frontline policing in Britain is changing.
Come on then.
The percentage of women on the force has almost doubled in the last 20 years.
Whoever's in that vehicle will be getting arrested.
In West Yorkshire, there are now over 1,600 female police officers on duty today.
Get your hand behind your back now.
From immediate response...
Get down here!
...to CSI.
Obviously, you want to catch the people that have done this.
From those just starting out...
Drink some more tea. I advise it.
...to the decision-makers at the top.
Morning, folks.
Morning, boss.
Thank you very much.
A single shift...
Got him.
...can be a matter of life...
We're just waiting for another ambulance to come.
...death...
I can just see the male, he's sat on the edge of the tracks.
...and everything in between.
There you go, Becky, can you fit in there? You can get lost.
And every officer has their own way of dealing with the job.
Oi! It's not a public toilet.
Sorry.
Tired.
And coping with the pressures it can bring back at home.
Hi, love, you okay?
Would you want to be a policewoman?
No. Dilly!
In Keithley's single mum PC, Laura Gargett
What's this?
is getting ready for another busy week of shifts.
So every day I have to do a meal planner, so the girls don't have to worry about anything. Put my shifts next to it, put the date next to it, put the meals. Charlotte puts definitions on there of what she likes. Apparently peng is the new word for fab. So yeah, that's tea time tonight. I need to really get cracking. So off we go for another shift at work, see what happens. See what the general public are capable of doing to each other.
For the last 10 years, Laura has worked as a response officer, who were the first on the scene at emergency call-outs. This week, she'll be working 6 10-hour shifts, 2 earlies, 2 lates, and 2 nights.
Us ladies have always got to have a few little standards. A bit of girliness in the job.
Okay, good afternoon everybody. Duties first. Mick, you're down as 3-2. Ian and Lee are probably already out in Yankee 1-9. Laura, you're Tango 3-1-0 with Josh.
Josh Pollard is 20 years old and just months into the job. Laura will be mentoring him this week.
Most of the day-to-day is pretty mundane, pretty routine. Dealing with things like theft from motor vehicle or criminal damage. But then you've got an element of surprise. That is an absolute bonus of my job. Going and not knowing what's going to happen.
In West Yorkshire, violent crime has increased by 26% in the past year. It's 11:30 a.m. and Laura and Josh are responding to an incident in Keithley.
We've had a call from a male who was the victim of a stabbing a couple of weeks ago, who states that he's just been released from hospital, and while going down the street, while he was on his crutches, 2 of the suspects who were involved in stabbing him have started chasing him with a baseball bat. He's then dived into a relative's address and managed to make himself safe. He's then seen these 2 males enter into a nearby property. And we've got another 2 colleagues coming over. There'd be 2 taser officers with us. Myself and my colleague who's coming over is also carrying a taser, and they're going to help us go and see if we can effect an arrest.
As backup arrives, Laura briefs the team.
So that's one of the guys we're looking for. He's a suspect, and then who's the other guy? I think they are 3 terraces, so we will need front and back. Right. Thank you. Hi, you all right? Hello. Who else is in the house at the moment? Just family? I believe there was an incident not so long ago, wasn't there?
Yeah.
Right, OK. Apparently you've been named as responsible, so we're needing to speak to you with regard to that.
You're under arrest on suspicion of Section 18 wounding. So you don't have to say anything, but it may not be offence. Do not mention one. Can't even get something which will later lie in court.
As his training officer, Laura lets Josh make his first arrest.
Right, what we're going to do is going to take you outside to our van. It's got a cage at the back.
Another officer arrests the second man.
We'll put those back in your pocket.
All Josh needs to do now is get his suspect into the van.
The moment we took the two suspects out of the address, that's when the dynamic changed.
I've got a camera recording. I have a camera recording.
Because the victim was still in the area and he'd seen us walk them out in handcuffs. And instead of holding on to his counsel, he decided to start shouting and screaming.
Got it, let's just close the door and get into the firing line.
Which caused a lot of attention. That changes the situation and escalates it. He was so hyped up, gobbing off, shouting and bawling. Just wanted to pull him out and get him away. And, you know, let him know, yeah, thank you for your call, we've got these two guys, let us just do what we need to do.
Good boy, nice. Sit.
Over in Dewsbury, PC Louise Tolson is getting ready for her shift.
Well, he's been up for...
Louise has been on the force for 2 years, and she's still adjusting to her life as a stepmum.
No.
I think the fact that my partner's got children is really important, and I look after them, I suppose, as my own when they're there. I do anything for them, and that's given me a lot more understanding of children and how to speak to them, and probably given me a little bit more of a caring side.
Right.
Tired.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
That log that we've been given, is it a domestic?
Louise is a response officer based in Dewsbury. This week, she's working alongside PC George Eyre. It's the start of their 10-hour shift.
Working in Frontline policing, it's great. I love it.
So to go to all the 999 calls and all the priority calls.
You join the job for the excitement and just being on the go. But it's nice for someone to go, oh, thanks, I'm really glad that you're here.
Louise and George are en route to their first call-out of the day.
So there's a young female who's 17 years old who's missing. Curfew's midnight and it's now 10 a.m. She won't tell anyone where she is and she's at high risk of child sexual exploitation. She's turned her phone off apparently, she drinks, takes drugs. So we want to get to the family, get as much information as we can, and then we can pass it to other units so they can go to all the addresses that we think she might be at. It's really common for young girls to go missing, but it's dangerous. You don't know where they are, what they're doing, who they're with. They're still children at the end of the day. If they're 17, they're not an adult yet. She can't always look after herself in the way that she probably thinks that she can. So it's really important that we get to her.
In Keighley, West Yorkshire, PC's Laura Gargett and trainee Josh Pollard have arrested 2 men suspected of a stabbing. But their alleged victim is in the area, and very quickly the situation escalates.
The whole street seemed to be out within seconds, and there were people very close to fighting. I think there were only 4 of us. Laura told me to stay in the van to look after the person that we'd arrested. And I found it really difficult to do while she were out there on her own, really, in this sea of people who were all really angry and potentially could have hurt her. Things could have gone very bad, but she's calm, professional. She managed to resolve the whole situation, really.
It probably looked worse because there are so many men around you. But at that particular time, I didn't feel particularly threatened. Years of policing a local area and knowing the people that live in that area, a lot of them are not hostile to female officers. I did have the benefit of experience. Had it been a couple of younger officers who weren't aware of that situation, things can get very quickly out of control.
In Dewsbury, PC's Louise Tolson and George Eyre are looking for a missing 17-year-old girl. They've just been to visit her mother, who made the 999 call.
It's always upsetting for a family member to have to report their loved one as missing. So it is just trying to calm the mum down, make sure, you know, she knows police are aware. We've got other units out looking for this girl. We're going to go out into public places, parks, etc., see if we can find her. But no, every case is different.
In her 2 years in response, Louise has seen a dramatic increase in emergencies involving children at risk. But these cases are never straightforward.
If someone's going to probably turn up in a few hours' time and they've told the mum, you know, that they're fine, they're just not wanting to speak to her, they want to go off and do their own thing, we can't then spend thousands of pounds hacking into her account and tracing her mobile and, you know, that kind of thing, because it's just the necessity isn't there at the moment. It doesn't meet that criteria.
Now Louise and George have been diverted to a new job. A car's been spotted being driven by a woman wanted by police. They've been trying to contact the suspect for 5 months. She's been accused of assaulting someone else's child.
Charlie 20 with this vehicle now outside the address. Hiya. Will you just step out of the car so I can speak to you? So kids aren't listening. At the minute, you're shown as wanted for an assault that's occurred on the 23rd of April this year against a 12-year-old. So you're going to be arrested on suspicion of an assault, so you don't have to say anything, but it may harm your defence if you do not mention when questioned anything which you later rely on in court. Anything you do say may be given evidence, all right? I don't want to put handcuffs on you because kids and stuff like that. Normally I would do, but when your children are here. So if you could just try and get someone who could come for you.
This is an absolute joke.
Let's not speak in front of the kids about it. That's why I've asked you to step out of the car, because I don't want them to hear, OK?
Well,
this needs sorting now, doesn't it?
Well, when I get hold of the dad, then we will do, won't we?
You're under arrest, so that's what's happening.
Under arrest and my kids are here.
Yeah, so we need to deal with that, don't we?
Yeah, I'm dealing with it. My battery's dead.
Louise can't take the woman back to the station until her children have been picked up.
What are you talking about? You don't know what I've been arrested for. You don't know nothing. Don't make your assumptions.
Just a second.
Kids before you make the situation worse. It's nothing to do with you. They're your kids. Can you just come and get the kids, please?
Is there anything you need? Do you have any medication like that you probably need in the next couple of hours? I don't think you'll be in very long with us.
I don't really care, to be honest.
All right. Where do you work? Dewsbury or Huddersfield?
Please don't try and make conversation with me.
I think when you've got to separate a mother by arresting her and separating her from her children, that's the worst nightmare. You just think, oh, God, no. But there was no other choice.
So what, am I going to be put in a cell now and all that?
Yeah, but I don't think you'll be in overnight or all like that. Is this your dad? Oh, hold on then.
It can't be nice, but if they have to see that you've got to arrest their mum, you need to do it in the kindest way possible.
Come round this way, please. Thank you. Normally I'd cuff everyone, but obviously I wouldn't have done that in front of the girls. Hey, Sarge. She's been arrested on suspicion of a Section 39 assault by beating. That's occurred on the 23rd of April 2018 in Rastrick, Huddersfield. Apparently where a 12-year-old's been pushed and sworn at. If you need anything, there's a buzzer, just press that and the staff will come to you, all right?
After 5 months wanted by police, it's an important arrest for Louise. And she also has an update on the missing teenager. She's turned up unharmed.
The young girl returned, which was a massive relief, but she had been gone several hours by herself and she wouldn't tell us where she was. The main thing that she was safe.
From Dewsbury to one of the biggest stations on the force, Bradford. PC Gemma Sharman is starting her shift with the city's neighbourhood policing team. It's always busy.
They're dead straightforward. Workload's definitely increased per officer, and that's purely as a result of there's not as many of us. Like 7 years ago when I first started, neighbourhood policing team was 15 cops, but now there's 5 PCs. There's so few of you that you're taking on more and more.
Gemma was signed off work with stress 5 months ago. This is one of her first shifts back on the front line.
So, how do you feel? I'm all right. As horrible as it was, it's done me good.
Sergeant Emma Lawson has been keeping a close eye on her since her return.
Helped. And by being ill, it made me sit back and think about how I look after myself, not just not like a daily thing, like look after your health, but like my mental health. And I didn't talk. No. I didn't like acknowledge anything other than like just keep going, just keep going, just keep going. But now I'll sit and I do keep going. I still keep going. I don't like crumble, but I sit and I think, right, you need to think about why you feel like this and what you're going to do to make yourself feel better. It's good. Yeah, definitely glad to be back. I've not lost my mojo.
Laura's just finished her early shift. It means today she can be home in time for tea with her daughters.
Dilly, hello. Shh, come here. Girls, tea time, please. Oh, nice to sit down.
Sadly, my marriage broke down a few years ago. Charlotte was, I think she was 13, and she very much, unfortunately, had to sort of step up and be a mum to Rebecca when I wasn't around.
Do you want it slicing or do you just want a big lump? How was school?
Boring.
If she hadn't have been the age she was, then I would have had to have given up shift work because I wouldn't have been able to do it because of childcare.
Now you're getting that little bit older, I'll tell you more about my day because I think you've got the maturity to be able to cope with the type of things that I have to deal with.
It does make it a bit harder, though.
It does, I know. But
I don't know about Rebecca, but sometimes I'll be at school and you think, I just want to text my mum, I just want to ring her and see if she's okay, but you can't, so you kind of just got to live with that bit.
do you worry that I'm not going to be here, or do you worry that Charlotte's going to have to step up?
I don't really think about it.
Good, that's good, because it means that I don't have to worry about you worrying. When I came home from that Christmas night shift with a swollen face and black eyes and stuff, did that kind of bring it home for you then? Because that's the first time I've come home, with the exception of the broken fingers, but that's the dog bite. Was that the one that really did it for you?
Yeah. There have been times where we've had to sit down and have like conversations about like what would happen if she didn't come home and what my responsibility would be, what I'd have to do for Rebecca and stuff like that. So I know more than someone my age should about the house and the money and stuff like that, because the risk of mum not coming home is quite high, which is worse when she's on nights because we're meant to be asleep, but it's kind of hard.
And that's the reality of a woman in policing, is that you do worry about leaving your children.
Would you want to be a policewoman?
No.
Gemma's only just been cleared to return to frontline duty. 5 months ago, she was called out to a case that would have a profound effect on her.
It'd been just a bog standard day. A call came in that a male had been found hanging in a building. And we got there within 2 or 3 minutes. I went inside. You could see, like sort of through the narrow glass window, just a figure slumped behind the door. And I remember busting through the doors, looking at him, but there was nothing to do. And just thinking, I can't do anything, he's gone. And then that was it. Then I just sort of pushed it to the back of my mind. And I didn't talk about it, I didn't cry. And bottling that up is what made me ill. All within a week, everything just came crashing down. I made the decision to end my marriage. Couldn't do my job because I couldn't keep my head right. I don't think the phrase rock bottom adequately describes it. You know, at one point I was suicidal. I didn't think there was another option out there.
It's 9 p.m. Gemma is partnered with her boss, Sergeant Emma Lawson.
All the body cams are out.
They've had a report that someone may be growing cannabis in a terraced house in Bradford.
Just aware that there's somebody upstairs, possibly. Looking for any of the usual signs of cannabis growth, so whether they've boarded out the windows or blacked them out, see if I can see any tubing, condensation.
Like that.
Gemma and Emma ask for firearms officers to support them, but there's no one available.
So they've been deployed at a live incident over in Kirklees, so they're not able to come and put the door in for us. So Gemma's going to put the door in.
Give it a go.
At that point, I'm thinking, am I going to be able to put the door through? What's behind it? How many people are inside? Is there anybody inside? What am I going to find? How quickly can I get in? Can I prevent anyone from escaping? What other routes out of the house are there? Am I going to be safe?
Get in.
Please stay where you are!
Am I going to walk away?
Please stay where you are!
Watch the way.
Police, stay where you are!
I could just about, sort of with my torchlight, see a man or a figure coming down the stairs.
Make your way down the stairs slowly. Put your hands out.
And he had something in his hand. I didn't know what it was. My first instinct was it was a weapon and I was about to get stabbed.
Put your hands out!
At that point, I'm thinking, are me and Emma enough to take him on?
Out. In front of you.
While I was thinking that, he turned and ran up the stairs.
Get down here!
So I thought I'd just get after him as quickly as I could, really.
Stay where you are! Right, you're under arrest. Production of cannabis, you don't have to say anything to me. How many defence? You do not mention one question, something which relates to relying
Take that.
Anything you do say may be given in evidence.
Come on. Here, I've gained entry to the address. I've got 1112 for cultivate cannabis. Okay, can you get... Well done, Sarge. Quite pleased with myself, really. Okay.
Yeah.
You speak English?
A little bit. English?
Speak English?
No.
The suspect is Vietnamese. Officers contact a translator to help them check him into custody.
We'd just like to introduce yourself to him. We'll just explain that we're going to go through the circumstances as to why he's here.
Xin chào, tôi sẽ là thông dịch viên cho cuộc gọi này. Cuộc gọi này có thể sẽ được giám sát cho mục đích đào tạo và đảm bảo chất lượng.
It's just after midnight. Gemma's shift still isn't over.
Just booked him into custody, which took a long time because he only speaks Vietnamese. So I've still got my statement to do, and then hopefully go home in the next hour, maybe.
It's 6 a.m.
Here, Liz. Too early for me. I like to sleep in. I like the...
PC Louise Tolson is almost halfway through her week shifts.
It'd be nice now that you've got your caffeine.
For the past 4 years, she's been with her partner Chris, who's a former police officer and a dad to 2 children.
Probably not the healthiest, but on a morning, if you go to work and you start at 7 and you've not had time to have breakfast, it's just the worst thing because you've got no energy then. I do love the job and I couldn't do a regular 9-to-5 office job again because it's just so nice not knowing what to expect, and it never gets boring because you work with someone different every day. It's not your bog standard job, really. What are you doing today? Are you going to see your mum?
No, not today. No, stay around here, and then we're going to go to football later on tonight.
Are you taking the mic?
No, there's some football on tonight.
The evening off. What did the kids say last week? I've never said this to them, but you tried to tell me to do something, and Matilda, who's 8, she said, "No, Daddy, Louise isn't doing that. Louise is a cop, so she's the boss." Me.
Yeah. We keep in touch when we can. If she's not busy, she'll drop us a message just to let her know everything's all right and just to kind of catch up or boss me around. As long as she comes back home after the shift, it's not too much of a concern.
Busy at the moment, though. Not a lot of staff.
The home and work-life balance is difficult, but I've had that experience in the police. I understand what it can be like. There's shifts that they have to work, and a change from working on a day shift to working on a night shift. We'll cross over as one gets in bed, one gets out of bed, and we'll have them brief half an hour, hours together.
Right.
Enjoy. Have a good day.
Love you.
See you soon. Love you.
See you later.
See you later. We just take it in a stride.
In Bradford, Gemma is back on shift, the day after the raid on a cannabis farm.
There's one arrested in there from here.
Yeah, gripped him last night. I'm absolutely amazed. I didn't even realise there was any cannabis on this floor last night, to be honest. There's another room behind us as well that's full of cannabis, so dead chuffed. I mean, I'm more chuffed than I was last night now.
Gemma only has 24 hours from the time of the arrest to charge her suspect.
To dismantle this cannabis farm, it will take us an hour and a half with the 5 that are here. However, whilst the 5 of us are here, there are all the other calls that we've got to handle. We've got to get ready for interview with the suspect. There just aren't enough of us like there used to be to do all the jobs that we need to do.
In Keighley, PC Laura Gargett has left her teenage daughters at home and is on a late shift with her trainee Josh Pollard.
We are being called to a person who is without clothes in a public place. One of our dog section is with him at the moment. Obviously it's irrational behaviour, so we're going to have a chat with him, see what it's all about and see if he's all right. So we'll see what happens once we get there.
Well, I never. This is not what we come across every day, young man. Where's your clothes? You don't. Well, what are we going to cover you up with then? If you've got some clothes, we can put those on you. Under the influence of something, possibly. I don't know. I'm not too sure.
A breath test proves negative. A dog carries out a search of his car for drugs, but none are found.
Can we not at least put your underpants back on? At the very least, so we don't see your little boy bits hanging out.
Just boiling up.
Just keep hold. If he legs it, he's going to try and go under a car, so keep hold.
You stood in a puddle there, do you want to get out of the puddle?
Need you out of the road, you're going to get run over. Calm down.
It's all okay. You're not going over the road, you're staying here. I've got mine. Calm down. We've got an ambulance en route to you. You are Hot Poppet, aren't you? And have you had this happen before? Right, well, we've got an ambulance.
I'm going to check you out.
After 30 minutes at the scene trying to calm the man down, help arrives.
We need to have doctors look at you. There's something not right, isn't there? You are going to go in the back of the ambulance. We'll keep moving, that's fine. We will. Listen to me. You will be going in the back of the ambulance and you will be going to A&E and you'll be seen by the doctors. And that's why we need to get you help.
We'll get a blanket around you, okay? Steadily walk you in, alright?
There's no
You'll be
cars.
alright getting over the wall?
Something's very not right with him.
Josh goes with the paramedics to Bradford Royal Infirmary.
Oh, he's a lot calmer, isn't he? That's a different person. It transpires that he has had some massive sort of panic attack. He said that he felt a state of anxiety rise over him. He's had one before in the past, and he just felt like every single pore in his body was really, really hot. He initially thought it was a fault with his car because the car was getting really hot. And he said he just got out, had a look, couldn't find a fault, and he said that the heat just kept coming over and over and over. It just goes to show you can never judge a book by its cover.
Being in the police is very selfless, but then the people who sacrifice are your family and friends. It's selfish for a police officer in a lot of ways, because the friend that you were meant to go out for tea with that evening, you probably cancelled because you worked on, or you're too tired to go out, or you can't get your boyfriend's birthday off. So it's your friends and family who have to just wait for you to become available, wait for your rest days. And even then they can be cancelled sometimes. All the girls on my cohort are split up with their boyfriends. I think once you join the job, you're in it then, aren't you? You don't want to leave because it took you so long to get in.
A lot of it is the unsociable hours. Probably come home drained after seeing stuff, and your family probably want to talk to you about stuff, and you don't want to talk about what you've seen or what you've done that day. So I think that's probably a massive reason.
Hi Steve, it's PC Sharman from West Yorkshire Police at Bradford. Hiya. Right, I've got a tale of woe and not a lot of time.
Back at the station in Bradford, Gemma only has 4 hours left to charge her suspect.
Basically, last night I locked up a guy, a Vietnamese guy, for a cannabis farm, and I booked an interpreter for 5 o'clock. However, it's now 10 to 7 and they've just decided to tell us that they can't get us one. And
Before she can charge him, she needs an interpreter with her for a formal interview.
somebody said there was a list of like emergency interpreters we could use.
There's a customer services number. May I help?
No, there's 2 or 3 of us tried and it's just not working. So.
That's the only thing we have, unfortunately.
Right, no worries. Thank you.
I'm really sorry about that.
No, there really aren't. We've tried absolutely everything. We're running out of time with the 24 hours on the custody clock. So what do we do?
The only thing we can do then is...
Google Translate?
No, Google Translate won't work. Get a file written up and go CPS with threshold.
Jesus, what nightmare. So what we're going to do is go for the threshold test and we're going to ask the CPS to charge and remand him without interviewing him. Because otherwise we will lose him and he'll just vanish off into the night and we'll never see him again. So it's 8:05 and I've got until 10 to 11, so I've got under 3 hours left.
Gemma has to prepare the entire case for presentation to the Crown Prosecution Service in just a matter of hours.
Time's really running out now. I can't remember the last time I felt this much pressure about a job. Yes, I'm ready to charge him. Are you able to tell him that he's going to be charged and remanded to court, so he'll be in court tomorrow morning?
Despite not being able to get an interpreter to the station, PC Gemma Sharman is finally able to charge the man with just an hour to spare. She's been able to convince the Crown Prosecution Service she has enough evidence to bring a case.
I'm tired. I'm just very tired. So hopefully I'll be off at 11 tonight. Get home, have 6 showers and douse myself in as much shower gel as I possibly can because I stink of cannabis.
Laura is coming to the end of her week of shifts.
Today's my 48th birthday and I'm working a late shift, so I can't be with my family today. I'm not sad that I can't be with my children, but it'll be tomorrow evening when I physically clap eyes on them again. In the police, when it's your birthday, traditionally you're the ones that supplies the cakes. I've spent a lot of birthdays at work since I've been in the police. I've spent their birthdays at work in the police as well, which is the one that is the hardest to do. You know, when you're younger and your mum's not there to say happy birthday, then that's really, really tough. Same thing with Christmas. They lock that down and we struggle to get time off then. So significant events in the year, I struggle to get off. It's part and parcel of the job, and it's very difficult for people on the outside to appreciate the demands of the job from that point of view. And I think that's probably one of the reasons why it does put such a strain on people's marriages. The motto in the police is join the force, get a divorce. Yeah, it worked for me.
It's 5 months since Gemma was diagnosed with post-traumatic stress disorder after she was the first on the scene of a suicide. It's 1 p.m. and she's been called out to help find a missing woman.
Hello, go ahead.
Hi, it's Gemma from Bradford. I'm just looking for this lady. Have you got a description, please?
Hiya, Gemma. Yeah, it's she should be sat in a grey Vauxhall. I think there may have been some sort of domestic this morning. She's then gone missing, and she did send a text to her partner, which would be suggestive of potential suicide.
Some sort of resonate with you. You know, some you think, Christ, if I don't get here soon. There she is. Hello, you all right? Shall I jump in and shall we have a chat? I'm Gemma. Are you all right? So, have you had an argument with your husband today? Yeah.
I jumped in her car and she was like a little deer in headlights. She looked frightened. And she was quite shaken and teary.
Have you sent your husband a message that might make him worry? And what did your message say that you sent him?
And she said that she said she wanted to go. She wanted to go away. So I needed to get to the bottom of what that meant, because it's quite vague, that.
Are you talking about moving on and making a fresh start, or are you talking about ending your life?
I started to get a feel for how she was, but I'm not a mental health professional. We have training, but I wouldn't say I'm a mental health professional.
Have you ever tried to harm yourself? No? And do you feel like you're going to do it now? Do you just need to breathe?
Just sort of explain to her that I do get it, it's all right. It's all right to feel like that, but we're here now and we can work together to fix it.
If I do have to 1360, will you be sending one of your officers over?
Yeah, we can do. We need to sort of deal with the matter of urgency. Let me know how you get on.
And she just needed to sort of get out of her own head for a bit, get away from the situation and calm down. So we arranged for her to go to a refuge. By the time I left, I was happy that she was going to be safe, she wasn't going to harm herself, and that she was going to get more help and support that she needed.
Thank you so much.
No, you're welcome. Okay. I feel like I've made a difference there, rather than, I don't know, just issuing a ticket or chasing round after tearing around after a quad bike that's not going to stop for you. Just taking that half an hour to sit and talk like a person and not worry about listening to your radio going off or powers and policies and procedures, just to talk and have that conversation and break down that barrier is a massive achievement. But you're always conscious of how long you're taking and sort of how pushed you are and how pushed your mates are. You want to find that balance of doing a job well and to the best of your ability and taking the time to do it. You're always conscious there's going to be another job, there's going to be another job.
You work long hours, you are beholden to the job, you know, it's not just an office job where you go to work and come home. You're a police officer 24/7 and people get neglected.
They told us that in training school,
Do you know
about 50%.
You get told that as well during the fort, yeah?
They said 50% of first marriages and 30% of second marriages
fail.
Yeah.
Work makes sure it takes its pound of flesh from you. I don't have a personal life, I have work and my kids and that's it.
Got all the work and school uniforms to wash.
In Dewsbury, Louise is approaching the end of her week of shifts.
We only saw the sun-soaking clouds rolling.
Yeah, that's a nice book. It's a bit easy for you though, you got every single word right.
Tonight, Chris's children are staying over.
Oh, we're doing spellings now as well.
It can be tough sometimes. Sometimes I think that they just think I'm at work all the time. You know, they've made comments before of the children about, oh, Louise is always working, or, oh, Louise, are you actually here? They're surprised when I turn up and I'm like, it's a Saturday, I've got it off. And they're like, oh, come on then. And they love that then, but they're always surprised that I'm actually around.
Yeah, this is the nice part of life, not arresting people.
It's been a challenging week.
It's just been so busy.
But you know, I'm pleased with what I've done. I've been stressed, but I haven't flapped, I haven't collapsed. I've managed. So another week ticked off. 7 weeks back, well done. I can't wait for tomorrow. Sleep in and not have to worry about anything work-wise.
Oh my gosh, I'm tired.
You can tell we've been busy because there's hardly any that's been demolished.
They call them rest days, but in my mind they're actually recovery days. When you've done a 60 to 70 hour week, you are completely exhausted. You look forward to the time off that you've got.
See you next week.
See ya.
But then there's a little bit of trepidation because you know that the same old shift pattern's going to roll around again really quickly.
It's an absolute joke. Let's not speak in front of the kids about it, that's why I've asked you to step out of the car.
Got 1112 for cultivate cannabis.